So I'm Charlotte Roberts. I'm the Director of Customer Delivery at NexBotix, and I'm here today talking to Andy Newland from Mewburn Ellis. Andy, would you like to give a little bit of an introduction about yourself and Mewburn?
Yeah, sure. My name's Andy Newland. I'm the Head of IT at Mewburn Ellis. Mewburn Ellis are a firm of IP attorneys. We've got around 350 staff, covering 5 offices in London, Bristol, Manchester, Cambridge and Munich. So our main business is the prosecution of patents, trademarks and designs.
So we just wanted to talk a little bit today about Mewburn's journey with automation. We've been working with Mewburn for a while now. We've automated one of their processes already and we're looking at a second. So we thought it'd be good to discuss with Andy a little bit about why he wanted to look into automation for Mewburn and their journey. Firstly then, what drove Mewburn to use automation and why did you feel it was necessary to change the existing way of working?
So we wanted to look at automation to streamline some of our business, and an area we looked at was disbursements that we receive and the profiling of invoices. So Mewburn, as an IP business, receive a lot of disbursements and invoices that need to be coded up quickly so they can be approved by our attorneys and billed out. The existing process we had was very labour intensive. The invoice processing team that we have in place did a great job in turning the invoices around within their SLA, but sometimes the SLAs just could not be met. And this might be due to spike in the number of invoices, for example, following a bank holiday in the UK, but it's not a bank holiday for some of our clients in Japan and the US. Illness within the team or people leaving the team, meaning the team is short-staffed. All of those could mean that the team are not hitting their SLAs. Obviously, an answer to the above is to just recruit a bigger team. But this answer is not really scalable and not something that, as we are growing as a firm, we don't want to have to grow all of our teams. So therefore, we decided to look at automation as a potential solution that could solve those problems. We wanted a platform that was technologically leading edge and also one that would give the invoice processing team control and visibility over what any automation would be doing. So after a competitive tender process, we selected NexBotix, which was the standout solution in order to run what was effectively a proof of concept of intelligent automation within the firm, focusing on invoice processing.
It's been a pleasure to work with yourselves. Obviously, when I joined, we'd already started, but it's definitely been good, and seeing it live has been really good as well, as seeing the numbers and the volume and the way that it's helping yourselves. You've covered some of the benefits already with your answer, which is great. But if you were to summarise just some key benefits to other legal firms out there, what would you say are the main key benefits of automation?
I think automating the process has solved many of the issues that I spoke about previously. So one of them is spikes in volume, which were a real problem for us. This is solved by automation, as the NexBotix robot or platform called Nia can run, if you want, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Fairly obviously, the bot doesn't get ill, it doesn't take holiday, it doesn't decide to leave the firm. And also the solution is very scalable. You can either make the bot you've got run for longer, or you can add additional bots fairly easily just by adding additional VMs and running bots in parallel, which the NexBotix solution will easily. So in terms of the benefits, it frees up the existing team to do more interesting work, which then increases their job satisfaction, and that's critical for us in staff retention, which I think has been a real problem for most firms following the pandemic. An additional benefit I haven't touched on is the financial benefit. So for these projects, the return on investment delivered by the software is fairly easy, I think, to calculate upfront compared to other IT projects, and you can measure it, and I think it will generally get a very positive result. I think I could say it's fairly typical for these projects to pay for themselves within a year. I mean, Mewburn are not a huge firm, so 350 people. For very large firms, you can deliver very large cost savings as well.
So I know when me and you have spoke before, we've kind of touched on a little bit about your thought process of invoice processing first, and you've touched on a little bit as to why you chose that as well, from the fact that it's very repetitive and a lot of manual effort. But in terms of more your transformational kind of view in general. Why did you choose invoice processing as the first process to automate?
Yeah, I think there are several reasons why we looked at invoice processing first. One of them, as this was a proof of concept to assess the viability of adding further intelligent automation to the firm, we wanted to choose a process where the road was well trodden. So other firms have done this as a solution. We didn't want to go too left field and find ourselves having to work out how everything works. We wanted to adopt invoice processing as something that other people have done. Within the firm, because we wanted to move fast for our proof of concept, invoice processing is a fairly standalone process. It's handled entirely within the accounts team, barring the approval process. So this meant we could keep the project team numbers fairly small and contained, and the project could be run quite in an agile fashion, interacting directly with the invoice processing team. So that's another way of saying there are not too many moving parts with respect to teams within the firm who have touch points within this process. If we chose something which is more widespread throughout the firm, it would necessitate us moving slower because we'd have more different departments to deal with and to work out how they interact with the process, whereas invoice processing effectively sits with one team. And we also chose invoice processing as a technical proof of concept because we really wanted to test kind of the mettle of the NexBotix platform and how it would handle a fairly complex process from a software perspective. So the solution we chose utilizes 3 different pieces of software within Mewburn, and that was another reason why we wanted to do it.
And obviously, like I say, it's gone really well because we're now looking at a second one, which we're really excited about. So yeah. Would you say then that you've achieved the benefits that you expected from the automation that we've done for your invoicing process?
Definitely. I think the vast majority of our processing is now done by the NEA platform. It's done under the supervision of the invoice processing team rather than completely standalone, because as we implemented the project, that was how they wanted it to work. The team are very happy with the process. I'm pretty sure that since the introduction of the NEA platform, the team haven't breached their SLA limit once, and there have been a couple of big spikes and people being away when the bot definitely helped or basically managed to keep up with the invoice processing. The NexBotix platform is also very good for the team. It provides them with the transparency they need, so they're confident that it's doing the job that they think it's doing, and they're also able to quickly process any exceptions, which has led to a definite increase, I think, in their satisfaction on their job. They're able to look at more interesting things now. So yeah, it's been very successful.
I'm glad to hear that, and you touch on a really good point there about the human in the loop element, which I think something that I think is really great about NexBotix and NIA is the fact that there is that human in the loop element, like you say, which adds that extra layer of confidence because you can actually see what's going on. So no, I'm really happy to hear that. Finally then, what's your strategy for automation going forward within Mewburn?
So following the invoice processing project, we deem that to be a successful proof of concept on all levels. So we're now ready to adopt more intelligent automation processes throughout the firm. So we're going to leverage the experience we've got through invoice processing to bring intelligent automation into probably more complex parts of the business in terms of the footprint of the processes that we now look at. So we are looking to identify cognitively simple but high volume tasks and then to automate them using the NexBotix NEA platform. We've already got several candidates that for us are quite exciting use cases, and one we're very interested in is automating our billing process to actually create our bills, our invoices.
Thank you so much for your time today, and hopefully this has given a bit of an insight for other firms as to what can be achieved. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.